episode 3, Volatile. And in the spirit of being volatile, this episode starts with a little Cobra. Cobra! Holler if you get the reference. So, and it was it was old Cobra footage. It showed the outsiders. It showed Cassie with the new Wonder Girl suit on. It showed the Wind Girl who was dating the Spanish kid, like the one that almost made everybody suffocate. Star Girl was there, and Robin was there, and I didn't even know Robin was an outsider. So but then Cassie was there, so I guess that's why Robin showed up. So it shows them taking down Cobra, and then Beast Boy, he's on Mars. He was actually watching old footage that they had of them taken down. So, like he's missing the outsiders and he's kind of feeling it. He's still being an ass. He's still being a dick to everybody. And his aggression level is actually getting like worse and worse and worse. But nobody can really pinpoint it. They're not really thinking about it. They just assume he's just being an a-hole. So there's a moment where Connor and Gar end up going down to the palace because the prince wanted to show them the crime scene where his dad got murdered. So Connor, he takes some information from the crime scene, he checks the whole thing out, and he's still on the verge of trying to solve his dad's murder because that's where we're going. So now, and then the prince said, he said that he would love to accompany Superboy as far as creating the stage for him and Magan's wedding. Because in Martian tradition, the males are supposed to go to the lava pits, get a bunch of rocks together for a platform. The women are supposed to go to the crystal caves and get and put a crystal header together to make a platform and make a stage for their wedding. So now this whole situation breaks up into two different groups. With the women, while the women were on their way to the crystal caverns, there was a lot of conversation, going back and forth between Magan, the priestess, the mom, and the sister, because Magan had even found out that the priestess, she used to be engaged to the prince, but that wedding never took place because the priestess, she's a white Martian and the prince is the prince, but Magan, she said that she felt that body language, and her and the priestess actually spoke about that a little bit. There's a situation with the bioship where the bioship is retiring, and when it went back to Mars, the bioship basically gave birth to a new bioship. They called it the baby bioship, baby bio, and bioship said that baby bio would take them back to Earth and be with them on Earth going forward. But the original bioship, she's going to stay on Mars and live out the rest of her days. Basically, she's retiring. That was sad for everybody because the bioship's been around since the beginning, but that's what we're doing, and we're getting a new bioship. Not sure why that transition needed to take place, but whatever. It is what it is. So now we're in the crystal caverns. And while we're in the crystal caverns, all the women end up getting the crystals that they need to put the header together for the wedding stage. And then, in that moment, Magan was basically saying how she can't wait, for the wedding so she can, get into Martian culture, and then she can do the same, the same traditions that her parents did. And then the sister was just like, don't act like you care about Martian traditions, bitch, because she was like, first of all, you don't even want to be a Martian. You always try to look like a human, and you spit on our traditions, and now you're marrying a a human, like an earthling, and now all of a sudden you want to talk about Martian tradition. And then Magan was like, first of all, bitch, she's just like, when we were kids, you were our older sister, and you weren't there for me and our brother. We used to get bullied, we used to get picked on, kids used to attack us, but you were so concerned with remaining popular amongst the green Martians that you left us out in the cold, and you left us, basically left us to fend for ourselves. So she said that, because of how you treated me, that's why I fled to Earth, because I wanted to be around people that actually gave a damn about me. And the two of them had this big, gigantic blow up. What the priestess said, she was just like, it's good that you're getting your feelings out there. And now that the two of you have actually said what's on your mind and those feelings are out there, you can now start the process of repairing your relationship and becoming sisters again. Only time will tell if that will actually happen. So now with the men, the men were in the lava pits, and as we know, Martians, they're not the best in the world when it comes to fire, but they were still down there putting the rocks together to set the stage for the wedding. So while they're putting the rocks together, Superboy, he's kind of losing his power a little bit because since he's underground and he's not around the sun, he's not getting the cellular recharge that he needs. In the last episode, he got busted in the head with a rock and he actually started bleeding. Now, he's not as strong as he is. He needs an oxygen tank now to go to certain places in Mars. And it's a situation where he needs to get topside real quick, but he can't because there's sandstorms out there and he won't even have access to the sun even if he goes topside. While Gar was helping them, he basically just went full blown rage monster on him. He started hallucinating, and because he was looking at hot lava, he saw Brion come out of the lava pits and basically saying like, oh, you let me down, you failed me, you failed us all, you're no leader. And Brion was basically just like, I'll kill you and I'll kill Superboy. And Beast Boy had like this imaginary scenario where Brion was trying to kill Connor, and when Brion threw like hot lava at at Connor, Beast Boy came out of nowhere, scooped him up, and then and then like took him topside. Connor had hit his head on a rock at first, and then he was kind of like unconscious. But Beast Boy was just like, "Oh, I gotta take you to the surface so you can get the sunlight, so you can defend yourself." The Prince and the Dad were looking at him like he was crazy. Oh, and also the guy who was the Green Beetle in season 2, he's back as well because he's on Mars, and he was and he apologized to the Prince for his shame. So so the three of them now, they're looking at Beast Boy like, "Yo, what the hell?" They're just like, "Yo, don't take Connor topside because since there's a sandstorm, he's not going to have access to the proper sunlight, and going up there will kill him." But because Beast Boy's hallucinating, he didn't, he didn't listen, and he took him topside. So, he brings Connor topside. Connor's like oxygen tank breaks, so now he's suffocating, and then Beast Boy's just running out into the sand, like, just screaming, going crazy because he thinks he's being chased and attacked by Brion. And then at that point, the baby bio ship came out to the surface. It brought Superboy on. The Prince, went looking for Beast Boy, to try to pull him in. And while he was looking for Beast Boy just got to a moment where he heard Magan's voice, and Magan was just like, "Gar, what you're seeing isn't real." She said that in the first episode, when you and Connor got brain blasted by those racist Martians, they left like negative psychic damage in your brain, which is why you've been such an asshole and which is why you've been so angry. The hate that was coming from those Martians got into your psyche, and their hate is being like reflected through you. So Magan, she repaired the psychic damage, and she told him that, she said, you just need to rest and focus on like repairing like the other, like the physical and emotional scars, because she said she already repaired the physical. The Prince found him, got him back on the bioship as well, and then everybody went back underground. So in the end, I guess they ended up putting the stage together because they actually showed us the wedding stage with the rocks and with the crystal on top. It looked very nice, and Magan and Connor are ready to celebrate their wedding. But then Magan said that she actually didn't go into Beast Boy's brain to repair the psychic damage. She was like, "Yo, that wasn't me." And when she said that, they were just like, "Well, who?" They said, "Well, who was it?" Magan, she went into his brain. She was just like, "Oh, they didn't leave any traces behind. They didn't sabotage you. There's no like anger or anything in you." She said, "Whoever did this legitimately repaired the psychic damage." And then they were just like, dumbfounded as to like who would do that. But then Magan did say those 3 people that we talked about in episode 2. The psychic one, Magan said she recognized the psychic signature from the avalanche, and then but they're under the impression that those 3 people caused the avalanche. And then Beast Boy was like, "Well, if you caused the avalanche, why would you try to kill us and then save me from brain damage?" And then it cuts to those 3 people. And they were just like, "Oh, you shouldn't have did that, because like we're not supposed to change history." And when they said that, I was like, okay, they're probably Legionnaires. They're probably members of the Legion who were sent from the future to the to the present to try to. I don't even know what they're still doing. I don't know if they're trying to convince Superboy and Magan to come with them to the future. Maybe they're just observing to see if it's even worth talking about. But the Legion of Superheroes is basically following them this entire season, and I feel like these three people are part of the Legion. If these 3 people are not a part of the Legion, the tall blonde chick who was the one that actually repaired Gar's psychic damage, that's probably Magan from the future as well. And that's my second prediction. If it turns out they're not just Legionnaires. And that's pretty much how the episode ended with the 3 of them, because they were just like, like we're like their plans. There's like, our plan is still on course. We just got to stay the course and let's try our best to not change history. And then you can't even call it an end credit scene or a post credit scene because it happens during the credits. So like the credit scene, it was Superman in the Watchtower talking to Lois on the phone, and apparently him and Lois have a kid now, young Johnny. He's like, "Oh, what's Johnny doing?" And then she told him something, and he was like, "Wait, are his eyes turning red?" And then she was like, "Yeah." Then he was like, "Cyborg, get me a boom tube right now," because apparently his son has power. So that's gonna be pretty funny, and we'll see. We'll see what happens in episode 4, because I don't even know when Young Justice episodes come out. They just be popping up out of nowhere. So, but maybe I guess they come out on Thursdays when Doom Patrol airs, because Titans is over. So Young Justice may take the place of Doom Patrol, but we'll see. We'll see what happens in the next episode. But in episode 4 is most likely going to be the wedding between Magan and between Connor, and then that's when all the ish is going to hit the fan. fan. And I feel like what they're doing on Young Justice this season, I feel like every 4 episodes, it'll be focused on a different set of characters. We're getting the Connor Beast Boy Magan storyline, and then after that storyline concludes after 4 episodes, then in the next 4 episodes, we're going to focus on 4 different characters, and then 4 different characters, and so on and so on and so on. So we'll see what happens as the show progresses. So thank you for tuning in. Like I said, loving Young Justice so far. It's very emotional. You know, like it's hitting on a lot of points, but they're all good points. Like there's conversation happening, conversation that needs to happen. So let's continue to roll with it. Check me out on Twitter. Check me out on Instagram. Hit me up as always so we can talk about, you know, what's going on with Young Justice. What do you want to see? What characters do you want to see? What storylines do you want to see? And we'll talk about it. So thanks for tuning in, guys. So until episode 4 for Young Justice, take care. And as always, I'm out this